All right, well, sixth grade, we're continuing along here in chapter 10, and our first focus is going to be organizing the data into cumulative frequency tables. And basically, a cumulative frequency table looks something like this, okay? You can see our information has to do with points scored. So we're going to have three columns: number of points, and we're going to have the frequency, and we're going to have the cumulative frequency. So we're going to make a table. All right, and it's going to be basically something like that. I'm going to put a line here to separate them. Now we're going to look at our numbers. We're going to kind of look for the biggest and the smallest number. I'm looking here real quick. I'm not seeing anything that's less than 39. And I'm not seeing anything that is bigger than 67. So this is what we're going to do now. First thing we have to do is decide intervals. And when we decide intervals, okay, we're ranges, and all those ranges need to be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, we're going to have a range from 36 to 40, 41 to 45, 46 to 50, 51 to 55, 56 to 60, 61 to 65, and 66 to 70, because 67 is my highest one, so I don't have to go any higher than 70. And you'll notice all of these are 5. 36 plus 4 is 40. 41 plus 4 is 45. So all these intervals are the same. You can't have an interval that's like 0 to 10, and then one that's like 11 to 13, and then one that's 14 to 21. These all have to be the same size. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and just kind of put my lines across to kind of help get my table created here. And the frequency is the number of times the team would have scored between 36 and 40 points. So this is where I look at the number, and the only number between 36 and 40 is 39. So that's just 1. So my frequency is 1. Now the total cumulative frequency after this is still just 1. That's the total number of games up to that point. Each of these scores represents the number of points scored in a game. So now I'm going 41 to 45, and I'm seeing, well, 41 to 45 doesn't look like any of them are 41 to 45. So I'm going to put 0, and my cumulative frequency is still 1. That's still the total number of games. Now between 46 and 50, looks like I have one with the 48. Looks like I have a second one with the 46. Looks like I have a third one with the 49. So that's going to be 3. And then this one game from up here plus these 3 make a cumulative frequency of 4. So that's how we do that. Now 51 to 55. I've got a 52, so that's 1. I've got a 55, that's 2. I've got another 55, that's 3. I've got a 52, so that's 4. So it looks like the number of times between 51 and 55, that was 4 games. Well, there was 4 games up to that point, plus those 4 more, give me a total of 8. 56 to 60, well, I have the 58 for 1. I have another 58, that's 2, and I have that 56, so that would be 3 times. 3 times between 56 and 60, plus the 8 that were there before, give me a total of 11. Between 61 and 65, it looks like I've got the 61, I've got the 64, I've got the 65, so that's 3. And then my cumulative frequency, those 3 plus the 11 that I had, give us a total of 14. 66 to 70, looks like I just got the 67, so that's just going to be 1. Plus the 14 that's there, that's 15. This number should always match, the final cumulative frequency should always match however many numbers are in the set. And I've got a row of 3, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and each column has 3. 5 times 3 is 15. That's what I got. And that's a cumulative frequency table. All right, now, the next part of this lesson is to take a frequency table. This is not a cumulative frequency table, but this is just a frequency table that talks about a chess team. And the chess team had a bunch of different seasons. There were 3 seasons that they won between 10 and 13 games, 4 seasons that they won between 14 and 17 games, and so forth. But once again, you'll notice that all the intervals are equal. 10 plus 3 is 13, 14 plus 3 is 17, 18 plus 3 is 21, 22 plus 3 is 25, and they're all right next. 13, the next one starts with 14, ends with 17, next one starts with 18. 21, the next one starts with 22. Now, a histogram is just a special type of bar graph. So I'm going to come down here first of all, and down here I'm going to write wins, and then I'm going to put my intervals 10 to 13, 14 to 17, 18 to 21, 22 to 25. Okay, and so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create my bar graph. All right, now over here, now I'm going to kind of erase this just a little bit to give me room. Over here, I do my frequency. And these numbers, as you can see here, I'm not getting any higher than 4. So I'm just going to go ahead. That's going to be 0. This is going to be 1. That's going to be 2. That's going to be 3. That's going to be 4. And I'm going to go ahead up to 5 because I'm not going any higher than 4. Now, sometimes depending on the numbers, maybe you'll go in intervals of 10, 0, 10, 20. Just depends on the numbers that you're getting in your frequency and how much you have to do. But the smaller intervals you use, the better, but a lot of it depends on what numbers you have. If you're going up to like 20 and 25, you don't necessarily want to count by ones all the way up. You want to bring some neatness and have your histogram be kind of condensed so it's easy to understand. Now, how many seasons did we have 10 to 13 wins? Well, that frequency was 3. So I'm going to go ahead and make a graph up to 3. I go ahead and shade it, and that's that. How many times did we have the chess team have between 14 and 17 wins? Well, that's 4. So I'm going to make another graph up to the 4. Notice how the graphs kind of connect like that. That's what it does in a histogram. How many times between 18 and 21 victories? Well, that's 4 again. So I'm going to go ahead and make another graph up to the 4 and go ahead and shade that in. And then between 22 and 25, a frequency of 2. So I'm just going to come here to my 2 right there and go ahead and shade that. All right, and that's a histogram. Now, third part of your assignment is actually going to give you a histogram and ask questions, but for the purpose, and ask questions about that histogram. But for the purpose of time and the fact that I only have 2 boards, I've created questions similar to what you're going to have to ask about the histogram that they gave you. But we're just going to answer questions about our chess team histogram here. It says, which interval contains the fewest data values? Well, this one had 3. These 2 both went up to the 4. This one just had 2. So the interval that contains the fewest data values is the 22 to 25 interval. How many seasons did the chess team play? Well, There were 3 seasons that they won between 10 and 13 games, 4 seasons between 14 and 17 wins, 4 seasons that they won between 18 and 21, and 2 times they won between 22 and 25 matches. So how many seasons did they play? Each of these is a season. So I'm going to add these together. That happened 3 different seasons. This happened 4 different seasons. 3 plus 4 is a total of 7. They won between 18 and 21, 4 different seasons. 7 plus 4 is 11. There were 2 seasons that they won between 22 and 25, so that plays to 13 seasons. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 4 is 11, plus 2 is 13. 13 seasons did they win. What percent of the seasons did the team win less than 18 matches? Well, we know that they played 13 seasons, so what percent of the seasons did the team win less than 18 matches? Well, less than 18 matches are going to be this one right here and that one right here. Here was at least 18. These were the 2 that were less than 18. 4 times, 3 times, that's 7. Now, there were 13 total. There were 13 total, okay? So 7 out of 13. I've got to figure out what that percent is. Now, remember, to turn a fraction into a percent, we just do the division problem. So if it's 7 out of 13 times they won less than 18, that becomes 7 divided by 13. Now, I know that I can't take 13 into 7, so I add a decimal 0. 13 can go into 70 5 times. 5 times 13 is 65. 70 minus 65 is 5. Can't end up with a remainder. I'm going to take the 0, drop it down. 13 can go into 50 3 times. 3 times 13 is 39. 50 minus 13 is 11. I'm going to add the 0. I'm going to bring it down. 13 can go into 110 8 times. 8 times 13 is 104. When I subtract that, that equals 6. Now, I'm not going to keep going because this is one that's going to kind of keep going and I don't necessarily see a pattern. I only need to round it to the nearest tenth. Okay? I only need to round it to the nearest tenth. So really, if I wanted to, because remember what the tenth is, it's going once, twice. To turn a decimal into a percent, I multiply it by 100 or move the decimal twice to the left. Now, if I do that, I get 60. 13 can go into 60 4 times because 4 times 13 is 52. All right, so I get 53 and 84 hundredths, which when I round it to the nearest tenth, the 4 tells me to round down and keep the 8 and 8. 53.8% of the time, the team won less than 18 matches. All right, we'll talk to you later, 6th grade. Bye.